Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Off the Post. And this is really kind of a follow-up to the last video that I created. And we were talking about the stats and how inconsistent and frankly kind of bad the stats are for soccer when you look at websites like Football Reference or Who Scored and different things. And so I'm not going to say the stats are bad. They're just not what we would expect them to be. And I don't know, I've had some conversations online with a few people, and I don't know if it's, we don't, I don't know if there's a guide to what the stats actually should be. And so they may be correct, and we just don't see everything. I was discussing some of this with my wife, and she said, "Are they wrong on purpose?" And that thought actually crossed my mind: is are the stats wrong on purpose, just so people can't use them for the purposes like I'm using them, or to make money off of it somehow? I'm not making any money off of this, but there are people that make games or make wagers or whatever using the stats, and I think that's one of the reasons why Opta chose to not have their stats be used on Football Reference, because they thought people were going to monetize it in some way, uh, and they want to get their share out of that. So, anyways, going down the rabbit hole. So, on the last video, we talked about how the shots on target don't line up with shots on target faced by keepers. And I went ahead and I finished the Belgium set and I made some modifications and some changes to make everything line up. And I wasn't really 100% happy with that. And so I dug a little deeper and went further down the rabbit hole, really what this episode is. Uh, Trying to just see and find out what I could. And it's hard because I think what I'm trying to find is a stat that isn't really tallied anywhere. So at least not on the websites that I go to. So when I originally first created these sets, I used WhoScored.com as the primary source, and Stats.com was used for the goalie stats. And that the Stats.com site kind of went away, and they've rebranded themselves. And I think that might actually be part of Opta. I'm not sure. Anyways, that went away, so the goalie stats were harder to get. And around that time, Football Reference was building up or FB Reference building up their uh, just their statistical what they showed. They started creating the detailed leagues, and those were really good. I try to get the closed system. I've talked about this, a closed system. I'm trying to get as many stats from one site as possible, at least to be able to say on this card set, the stats came from here, so this is what my reference is going to be, and you'd think they would all balance out. And with the detailed stats, you had a really good ability to do that. They had almost all the stats you needed, and pretty much all the stats you would need, including corner kicks and passing statistics, which are you would think would be easy to put on there, but those two they fall in the same area. A corner kick is a pass, and the passing accuracy and different types of passes. All that went away when they pulled their detailed stats. Who Scored has some passing information. It's not huge detail, but it has enough for me to be able to create the sets and create the passing statistics. But going down that rabbit hole of shots on target and why they don't match, and really, I believe it comes from the cleared off the line stat, which isn't kept anywhere. Now, this is an assumption I'm making because the games that I've checked that don't line up, where the shots on target don't line up with the keepers, there's usually a cleared off the line stat. You can see a clear off the line indicator on who scored. They don't keep track of how many, but it's on the match center. You can see the little circle with the C inside of it. So what I've done is I decided, and working with David Troppins, I kind of talked a little bit about this with him, and I've created a new stat, a new rating called goal line clearance. So goal line clearances. When a goal line clearance comes up, the keeper or that the player is going to get credited for a shot on target, but the keeper won't get credit for a save. And that should make those stats align when you look at how many shots on target, how many shots on target are faced, and how many saves are generated. So I'm hoping that closes the gap. What I had done originally on that first Belgium set was I just added those missing numbers into shots on target faced, which changed the save percentage for keepers, and I didn't like that. So the save percentages have been fixed, and goal line clearances have been added. So let me show you. We can take a look at how this looks. I also had to, because of this, I had to move the P plus, which I had added, but the P plus now had to get moved, and it actually makes a little bit more sense where it's at now. So looking at Brent Gabriel, he's the one player with a P plus in the Belgium set. Down here at the bottom, you can see the goal line clearance rating. I put that right up against the goal rating because to me, what makes sense is that shot's going in unless it's stopped in some way. And it's either going to be saved, it's going to go in, or there's a goal line clearance. So that number is going to be a higher number, adds a little bit more to the drama, but the goal line clearance is in this area. Not every team has one. So there are some keepers that don't have anything in the goal line clearance rating. So Andres Jungdal and up here Lucas Perard, they don't have goal line clearances, but most players will. So you're going to see that goal line clearance here, and how you're going to play it is for stat keeping, it's a shot on target for the player, no save for the keeper. So you'll have to either track goal line clearances if you want to track save and save percentage. So you have to track goal line clearances, which I'm modifying my score sheet to do. But then you play it as a P. So it's a normal. It's not a counter. It's just going to be normal. So those numbers are coming out of that normal range. And anything at 63 to 68, 6. If it's a 68, 7, 8, 9, then it's going to 7, 8, 9, or 0. It'd just be nothing, which would again be a P, normal. So anything that falls in these numbers is just going to be played as a P, normal. Moving the P plus, I had put it down under where the card is now, moved everything back to where it was. The P plus now moves into the off target shot rating. The thinking behind this, and discussing this with David, is that the on target is susceptible to ratings variations. So the on rating or the goal rating for players moves that on target shot number up and down. And the P plus and the free kick and the corner kick, those numbers get moved up and down based on those stats. So that would actually probably make less of a chance for a P plus, especially when a minus 40 shooter or a minus 50 shooter comes in. Minus 50 is rarely going to get on target, but a minus 40 can get a shot on target. That minus 40 is going to drop him most of the time underneath where the P plus would be. So now it falls over into this area. Hopefully this makes sense. And now looking at it, it may not. I don't know. Interesting. So the way I've done it now is a 1 to 71 is going to be a counter. If it's a 1 or a 2, that is going to be a P plus. But looking at that, that also mirrors how all of these other stats look. So people might just say, well, that's a counter, 71.2, or what do you do if it's a 71.3 or 71.10? So I've got to figure out how I want that to look. I might make it, I don't even know how I want to look at it. Maybe a 1 to 2 in parentheses here, and then to 71. So I might do that. 1-2 in parentheses dash 71. So let me play with that, see how that looks. But somehow the P plus is going to be now in the off target rating. And that's really it, that rabbit hole, which I'm on vacation this week, and this is the end of it. So it allowed my mind to really wander. And there were nights when I first created that set, it was like, it's a little bit like Sheldon in Big Bang Theory, where something got stuck in my head and I couldn't really, I couldn't rest until I tried to fix it. So this rating here, this number might be susceptible to change a little bit. I'll have to play with how that looks, maybe make more sense. But that's really it. The two new things you're going to see: goal line clearances, which is a shot on target, no save, and the counter in the P plus moving over to the off target range. That's it. That's it for this update. Really some minor things. The card sets are for Belgium have been loaded and are reflective of all these changes that were made. And I might have to do it again if I change that look. I'm going to play around with that now that I really look at it. But that is it. If you guys have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave a comment below. If you like the video, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. I'll have some more videos coming out when the other sets. The next two sets are Australia and Liga MX, they both end the same day. I have looked at those stats, and yes, the shots on target don't match shots on target face for keepers. So this system should work. The system should make it more what my goal is, strive for accuracy. So it should make everything more accurate. But that's it. That's it for this video. You guys enjoy playing some games. I know that I'm involved a little bit in the MLS co-op, but I kind of want to play with this system a little bit to see how it works. So I might modify an older set and play some games just to see how it feels. But that's it. So thank you guys for watching the video. It's end of the weekend, so I can't say have a great weekend because it's over. But enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy your week coming up, and I'll see you guys on the next video. All right, thanks a lot, guys. Have a good night.